In this video, I want to share with you my experience with the FUJINON XF18mmF2 lens. By the way, all the images showing in this video was taken with the X Pro 1 way back in 2014 and 2018. The other thing I want to mention is that I won't be doing any technical deep dive on this lens. Instead, I like to talk about what it's actually like using it, what are some of the quirks, and overall what my thoughts are at the end of this video. This little tiny lens only weighs about 116 grams, or about the weight of an average banana. It has a relatively large aperture of f2 with a fixed focal length of 18mm, which equals to around 27mm if we're talking about full frame. There's no zoom, stabilization, or weather sealing. I have owned this lens since about 2013 along with the X Pro 1 when it was first launched. I no longer have that camera, but I am still using this lens with my X-T2 on a frequent basis, which is just over there in the background. The reason why I'm showing these images is because I think this lens is great for street photography. That's when I enjoy using it the most anyway. It's light, compact, and wide enough for most scenarios, even in tight street corners. As mentioned, there's no weather sealing, but to be honest, I haven't really taken any extra precaution and it seems to be fine. Obviously, I'm not going to dunk it in some water, but yeah, it seems to be okay, pretty robust. In terms of physical design, it's very simple and timeless. It's mostly made out of metal. Like with most Fuji lenses, if not all, it's focused by wire only, which isn't great for manual focusing, especially with video, and the autofocus is quite noisy and tends to jump a bit, so you can't really get a smooth focus. It tends to do it in steps. I also find that the aperture ring can be easily knocked unknowingly when you're out and about. Not only that, you have to remove the metal lens hood in order to take the lens cap on or off. You can put the other cover on the lens hood, but that will definitely fall off quicker than I can say it's as useless as a chocolate teapot. Now, let's talk about image quality. The center is sharp even when wide open. Again, we're not pixel peeping here. The corners are a little softer if we look very closely, but again, it doesn't really bother me, and the same with the vignetting. What isn't so great, and something that I definitely notice, is the purple fringing. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, it's pretty wild, as you can see in these examples. And finally, bokeh. Bokeh? Bokeh? Bokeh. Fuji claims that the f2 aperture can deliver some silky smooth Fuji claims that the f2 aperture can deliver some silky smooth background. It's usually more difficult for wide-angle lenses to get a nice soft background. Fortunately, you can get pretty close to your subject, and I have to agree, the background is very smooth and I like it. So let's wrap up then. There's definitely quite a few things that I don't like about this lens, and not to mention that the price, at around 500 UK pounds or $700, which I think is pretty overpriced considering all the flaws that we've mentioned so far. Fuji did launch the XF18 1.4 recently. I wonder if that lens is worth getting, hey? Anyway, here's my final thought for this lens. It's technically flawed if we look closely. Most notably, the purple fringing at times is pretty severe. The AF motor is noisy and jerky, there's no weather sealing or image stabilization, the lens cap is frustrating to use, the focus ring can be knocked easily. But yet, somehow, for some reason, I do like it. It's fun to shoot with. When I'm walking around with this lens, I just enjoy the shooting process and don't care about any of the flaws that I've just mentioned. Even if it sounds like I'm beating it down at times, which I kind of did, the reality is I really do like using this lens. It might not be my favoriteest of all time, but it certainly has the X factor appeal, charm, whatever you want to call it. The thing is, if it's a paid job or where perfect sharpness, image quality is important, then no, this is probably not the right lens for the job. But for my purpose, which is mainly street photography, I really don't care about the final 99.9 percentile image quality. I just want to go out and shoot, enjoy what's out there, and this certainly does that for me. It's just a great little fun pancake wide-angle lens for the Fuji camera. I'm curious to know if you own this lens and what your thoughts are. I definitely want to hear what you have to say. Let me know down below. Anyway, as always, a huge thank you for watching. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please consider giving me a like. It will help me out tremendously as always. Anyway, a huge thank you again for watching. My name is Joe, and I will see you again in the next video.